This is a very old folk tale that can teach us a deep lesson. And the story goes like this. Once upon a time, there was a 22 years old boy who lived a difficult life. His parents had passed away, leaving him to manage everything on his own. Every day, he worked hard just to earn enough money to survive. His routine was simple. He would go to work, come home, cook 4 pieces of bread, eat and sleep. This was his life, day in and day out. One day, something strange happened. After making his 4 pieces of bread, he washed his hands, and when he returned, one of the bread piece was missing. He was puzzled but ignored it. The same thing happened the very next day. On the third day, he decided to keep an eye on his bread. To his surprise, he saw that a little fat mouse was stealing one of his bread. The boy caught the mouse and asked, "Why are you taking my food? I barely have enough for myself." The mouse looked up and said, "Please don't stop me. It is my fate to take one of your breads." The boy sighed and replied, "I don't have much. I work all day and make only 4 pieces of bread to eat. You are taking one way, and I don't know how to manage with less." Feeling sorry for the boy, the mouse said, "If you want answers to your problems, go and visit Gautam Buddha. He can help you understand your life and show you what to do." The boy thought about it and decided to follow the advice of the mouse. The next day, he left on his journey. The road was long and tiring. As night fell, he found a mansion and asked for shelter. The owner of the mansion, who was a kind woman, welcomed him and asked where he was going. The boy explained, "I am going to meet Gautam Buddha to ask him about my life and the struggles I face." The woman smiled and said, "You are going to a wise man. Could you also ask him a question for me? My daughter has not spoken for 20 years. Please ask him when she will finally speak." The boy agreed and continued his journey the next day. After walking for many hours, he reached a tall and snowy mountain, but he did not know how to cross it. Just then, he saw a sage meditating near the mountain and asked for his help. The sage said, "I will help you cross the mountain, but I have a question too. I have been meditating here for many years, trying to reach heaven. Could you ask Gautam Buddha when I will finally go to heaven?" The boy promised to ask. The sage waved his magic stick and the boy crossed the mountain. After some time, the boy reached a wide river, and again he did not know how to cross it. Just then, he saw a large tortoise resting by the river bank. "Can you help me cross the river?" the boy asked the tortoise. The tortoise agreed, and while crossing the river, the tortoise asked, "Where are you going?" "I am going to meet Gautam Buddha," the boy replied. The tortoise smiled and said, "I have lived in this river for 500 years, and I have always wanted to become a dragon. Could you please ask Gautam Buddha when that will happen?" The boy agreed and continued on his journey. Finally, after many days, the boy arrived at Gautam Buddha's place. There were many people waiting to meet Buddha and ask him questions. But Buddha announced that he would answer only 3 questions for each person. Now, the boy faced a dilemma. He had 4 questions to ask, one for the mansion owner, one for the sage, one for the tortoise, and one of his own. But since only 3 questions could be asked, he had to decide which one to leave out. After thinking deeply, he chose to set aside his own question and instead ask the others' questions. Firstly, the boy asked the question for the mansion owner, "When will her daughter speak?" Gautam Buddha answered, "The day her daughter gets married, she will start speaking. Friends, here I want to tell you that just like this boy seeking answers from Gautam Buddha, we often search for guidance and wisdom in our life. That's why I have carefully curated 30 of my most powerful and insightful stories into an ebook, which is available on Amazon Kindle. In some countries, this book is also available in paperback form. This book is filled with life lessons that can transform anyone into a better person and help them find success, much like the stories I tell here. I strongly encourage you to get your copy and start this journey towards your personal growth. Now, back to the story. Next, the boy asked the question of the sage, "When will he go to heaven?" Gautam Buddha answered, "The sage will go to heaven when he lets go of his attachment to the magic stick." Finally, Gautam Buddha said, "The tortoise will become a dragon when he removes his shell." After receiving the three answers, the boy thanked Gautam Buddha and began his journey back home. Along the way, he met the tortoise and gave him the answer. The tortoise removed his shell and immediately transformed into a beautiful dragon. When the shell was discarded, many gems came out of it. The dragon gave all the gems to the boy and then flew away. Next, the boy met the sage and delivered Buddha's message. The sage handed over his magic stick to the boy, and with that, he ascended to heaven. Finally, the boy returned to the mansion and gave the woman Gautam Buddha's message, which was her daughter would speak once she was married. Overjoyed, the woman asked the boy to marry her daughter. The boy liked the girl and they got married. As soon as they were married, the daughter spoke her first words and she was cute. Now, with the precious gems from the dragon, the magic stick from the sage, and a loving wife, the boy's life completely transformed. His days of struggle were over and he found happiness and success. And all because he chose to leave his own questions behind and help others instead. The story teaches us an important lesson on letting go. Whether it is the tortoise shedding his shell, releasing his attachment to the magic stick to ascend to heaven, true progress comes from leaving behind what holds us back. Similarly, in our lives, we must learn to let go of our bad habits, negativity, and selfishness. Once we release these burdens, we can move forward on the path of growth and success. By becoming unselfish and learning to let go of the things that hinder our progress, we open the door to new opportunities and a brighter future. Because when we let go of what holds us back, we find the strength to move forward and embrace all that life has to offer.